But let's jump into our MLB, where the stats actually have some merit because we're all the way into midway of August at this point. These seasons are fully developed. We are getting a full scope of what these teams are at right now. So I have 3 picks going into Thursday's games, Brett. And the Tampa Bay Rays and the Baltimore Orioles are playing, and I love this over. And the reason I really love this over is because Tampa Bay's been hitting the over against Baltimore in this series on their own. So this over-under sitting at 8.5 is kind of surprising to me because in the first game, Tampa Bay beat Baltimore 9-2. In the second game on Tuesday, Tampa Bay beat Baltimore 10-0. And then you look at them who are playing right now, Brett, it's 7-4. This over-under does not make a lot of sense to me. You have 2 pitchers on the mound that, they're bullpen pitchers, kind of. You have Jorge Lopez on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles, who has an ERA north of 6. You have Shane McClanahan on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, who has an ERA just under 4. This over-under at 8.5, maybe it's a trap, but I'm going to fall for it. I'm taking that over.
Yeah, McClanahan's only going to go 4 innings, and then others will take over. Lopez has just not been very good for Baltimore. I don't imagine he's in the rotation next year. But, yeah, I would say the over makes some sense there. Although that's a game, Higgins, just pretty honestly, would have no interest in betting a Rays Orioles game at this point. Rays Blue Jays would be a lot
Shows
more
how much you
interesting.
care.
Rays Blue Jays would be a lot more interesting. I'd be into that one.
Absolutely. This is an early morning Thursday game as well. At least early morning on the West Coast. It's a 10 a.m. game. It's technically an afternoon game on the East Coast with a 1 p.m. first pitch. Brett, another game that I'm looking at is the Mariners in Texas facing off against the Rangers. This series has been interesting so far. We have Chris Flexen on the mound for Seattle facing off against Spencer Howard. And I'm taking Seattle minus 1.5 at plus 100 odds. There's a few reasons why. Seattle is the second best team in the MLB against the run line, trailing only the San Francisco Giants. Seattle's 69-51. And the Texas Rangers, they are the 4th worst in the MLB against the run line. And then, on top of that, you look at the pitcher, Spencer Howard, who's on the mound for Texas. He has 1 outing for 5 innings so far in his major league season this year. And then you have Seattle, who is desperately trying to potentially catch up in the AL wildcard scenario. They are still trying to scramble and play for their lives, even though they are 6.5 games back in their division. So there's a lot left to play for Seattle, not as much for Texas. I really like Seattle minus 1.5, and I'm getting them at this plus 100 odds on Wednesday night, because I wouldn't be surprised if on Thursday they're not going to be in that positive value.
Yeah, Spencer Howard came over from Philadelphia in the Kyle Gibson trade, one of the former top prospects in the Phillies organization. Struggled in 2020 when he was with the Phillies, so they were, trying to rehab him a little bit, get him back to that top prospect form, but hasn't really worked out, Higgins. Again, this is a tough game because, you don't expect to be Texas to be too motivated to win here. These games mean a lot for Seattle with the wild card and the AL West, so they're still alive. There's still some time for Seattle. They're running out, so they cannot be losing games to the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, they really can't. And Brett, there's one other baseball game that I do want to talk about. This one is an NL East versus NL Central matchup. The Marlins travel up to Cincinnati to face off against the Reds. Zach Thompson on the mound facing off against Luis Castillo. Castillo struggled, but I'm worried because the Marlins on the road have been abysmal. 21-40. So I'm staying away from the Marlins money line. I'm taking them plus 1.5 at minus 110 odds because they are 45-35 as underdogs, And Cincinnati, when they are favorites, are 25-42. They are not good when they are favored by a run and a half. Cincinnati has only been winning by 1 run, if any, when they are favored. Luis Castillo has struggled mightily this season. He is 6-12. His ERA is at a 4.5. I had him on a fantasy team earlier on in the season. His ERA was in the sixes all the way into May, I believe. So I have no faith in Luis Castillo. The Marlins, though, on the road, have me reserved enough that I'm not taking that money line at plus 205, though. So I'm taking the run line plus 1.5 runs at minus 110 value. Feels like I'm taking a spread in football with the minus 110 there.
Yeah, I don't love this bet for you, Higgins. The Reds are in the thick of the playoff race. They need to be feasting on the Miami Marlins right now. And to be honest, they have the better lineup. And I know you gave the Luis Castillo stats from this year. Still going to say they have the better pitcher in this matchup. So better lineup, better pitcher, team that needs it, all pointing Reds. My guy Higgins playing the contrarian side here, but I cannot get down with you, Higgins. I'm not going to bet it. I don't want to be disrespectful and, just fade you, but I'm going to root for you, Higgins. I'm going to root that Miami only loses by a run here and you nice cover and get the dub.
All right, well, I appreciate the opinion. I gave out my thoughts on it. I think the Marlins are going to be able to cover, but it's interesting. I mean, Luis Castillo struggled mightily this season.